My wife looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Open our marriage, or I'm divorcing you." I calmly agreed. Then, the very next day, I introduced her to my lawyer. Let's just say her idea of openness was very different from mine, and her reaction? Absolutely priceless. For 22 years, I, Robert, 48, had what I thought was the picture-perfect American dream with my wife, Denise, 45. 2 kids off to college, a beautiful suburban home, the whole 9 yards. But that illusion shattered last Thursday night. We were on the patio, enjoying some wine after dinner, and she'd been acting strange for weeks. New clothes, always glued to her phone, suddenly obsessed with self-care retreats. Honestly, I should have seen it coming. "Robert," she began, her voice brittle. "We need to talk about our marriage." "Okay," I said, "what about it?" "I feel like we've become roommates," she declared, her eyes distant. "I need passion, excitement. I need to feel alive again." My mind immediately went to practical solutions. "So, therapy? A vacation?" "No," she said, and that single word sent a chill down my spine. "I want an open marriage." I literally choked on my wine. "Excuse me." She pressed on, unfazed. "I've been reading about it. Ethical non-monogamy. It could save us. We stay married, but we explore connections with other people." I stared at her, my blood running cold. "And if I say no?" Her face hardened, a mask of unyielding determination. "Then I want a divorce. I've already talked to some lawyers. I know my rights. Half of everything. Alimony. The house, since the kids grew up here." I'm not bluffing, Robert. The sheer entitlement in her voice was staggering. She hadn't just thought about this. She'd already weaponized it. This wasn't a discussion. It was a cold, calculated ultimatum. "You've really thought this through?" I asked, my voice dangerously calm. "I have," she insisted. "Look, you can date too. It's fair. We both get to explore while keeping our family unit intact." My eyes narrowed. "Who is he?" She blinked, feigning innocence. "What?" "The guy you want to sleep with." I pushed. "This isn't hypothetical, Denise. You have someone lined up." She had the audacity to look offended. "That's not. It's about us, not anyone else." She sighed, a frustrated admission. "His name is Garrett, from my CrossFit gym. But nothing's happened. That's why I'm talking to you first. I'm being ethical." Ethical? She wanted a medal for not having cheated yet. My world was spinning, but I stood up, surprisingly calm. 22 years of shared life flashed before my eyes. Building our first home, her tears at our daughter's graduation, lazy Sunday pancakes. And now this. A brutal, calculated betrayal. "Okay," I heard myself say. "Okay, let's open it." Her face instantly lit up, a blinding, sickening smile. "Really? Oh, Robert, I knew you'd understand. We can set boundaries." "Rules." "No rules." I interrupted, my voice flat. "Wide open. Starting tomorrow." She blinked, surprised but clearly thrilled. "Tomorrow? That's fast." "What? You want open?" I said, meeting her gaze. "We'll be open." She actually hugged me, gushing. "You won't regret this. It'll make us stronger." I didn't hug back, just muttered something about being tired and headed to the guest room. She was too euphoric to notice the ice in my voice, the deliberate coldness in my posture. That night, sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. I spent the entire night on my laptop. Emails, legal documents, screenshots of her social media, anything I could find. By 4 a.m., I had a plan. A terrifying, beautiful plan. Friday morning arrived, and Denise was practically radiating. I imagined she was already texting Garrett, fantasizing about her new ethical life. "So," she chirped over breakfast, "I was thinking we should establish some ground rules. Like, no bringing people to the house. Always use protection. Actually," I cut in, "I have a lunch meeting today." "A work thing?" she asked, oblivious. "No," I said, watching her carefully. "A date." Her toast stopped halfway to her mouth. Her eyes widened. "Already? With who?" "You'll meet her at dinner," I replied smoothly. "I invited her over." "You what?" She practically shrieked. "Robert, we agreed no bringing people home." "No, you suggested that 5 seconds ago." I corrected, a glint in my eye. "I said no rules, remember? Wide open." Her jaw tightened, the glow fading fast. Fine. Who is she? You'll see, I said, standing up. 7 o'clock. I left her sputtering and drove to my actual destination, my brother Alan's law firm. This wasn't about divorce papers. This was about something far, far better. Alan, a brilliant family law specialist who also handled contracts, spent 3 intense hours with me. We drafted an absolutely bulletproof, open marriage agreement. Every single detail was meticulously spelled out. Both parties consent to non-monogamous relationships. All marital assets remain separate from any new relationships. No marital funds could be spent on other partners. Either party could terminate the agreement with 30 days' notice, at which point standard divorce proceedings would apply. Crucially, both parties waived rights to claim adultery as grounds for divorce, and detailed financial disclosures would be required monthly. But here was the kicker, the true masterpiece. A clause stating that whoever initiated divorce within 1 year of signing this agreement forfeited all claims to alimony. Alan looked at me over his glasses, a slow smile spreading across his face. This is brutal, Rob. She wanted to play. I responded, my voice cold. Let's establish the rules properly. That evening, Denise was a nervous wreck. Garrett was clearly forgotten. She changed outfits 3 times, fussed around the house, obsessively cleaning, all consumed by who I was bringing home. The doorbell rang precisely at 7 p.m. I opened it to reveal Rebecca Thornton, Alan's senior partner. She was 62, silver-haired, wearing a power suit that probably cost more than our monthly mortgage payment. Denise, meet Rebecca, I said, relishing the moment. Rebecca, meet Denise. Denise's face was utterly priceless. Relief at first, quickly replaced by utter confusion. Oh, nice to meet you. You're a bit older than I expected. Rebecca smiled like a shark, her eyes gleaming. I specialize in December-May relationships. Robert's exactly my type. Denise actually looked ill. I poured wine. Rebecca's a lawyer, senior partner at Thornton, Kravitz, and Associates. How nice, Denise stammered, still try to process. Actually, Rebecca cut in, her voice all business. I'm here professionally. Robert retained me this afternoon. Retained you for what? Denise's voice was barely a whisper. I slid the contract across the table. Our open marriage agreement. To protect both of us. Denise started reading. With each page, her face grew paler, her eyes wide with a dawning horror. This is insane. Monthly financial disclosures? Forfeiting alimony? These are business terms. Rebecca interjected smoothly. Standard protections in consensual non-monogamy arrangements. Mrs. Peterson. You did research this, correct? Not like this. Denise cried. This is a business contract. You threatened divorce and researched lawyers. I reminded her, my voice unwavering. I'm just being thorough. If you prefer, I nodded to Rebecca, we can proceed with traditional divorce proceedings. Rebecca, without a word, placed a second folder on the table, a fully filled-out divorce petition. Denise was trapped, and she knew it. Sign the agreement and enter a wide-open marriage on my terms, or get divorced right now without her CrossFit boyfriend lined up as a safety net. I need time to think, she mumbled. Of course, Rebecca replied, perfectly poised. You should have your own lawyer review it. I'd recommend getting someone familiar with polyamory agreements. Rebecca left after an hour of calmly explaining various clauses. Denise hadn't spoken 10 words. The moment the door clicked shut, she exploded. That wasn't a date. You tricked me. I never said it was a romantic date. I corrected, watching her rage. I said I had a lunch meeting and was bringing someone to dinner. You assumed. This agreement is ridiculous. No one signs something like this. Then don't. I shrugged, the words like ice. We can do the divorce instead. You're being vindictive, she screamed. I'm being practical, I countered. You want to fundamentally change our marriage contract? Fine. Let's get the new terms in writing. She stormed off, but an hour later, she came back. Robert, she said, her voice small. If I sign this, you'll really be okay with an open marriage? I said yes, didn't I? I replied, my eyes unreadable. She stared at me, suspicious, searching for the trap. She couldn't find one. Not exactly. By the way, if you're still with me on this wild ride, make sure to hit that subscribe button. More unbelievable stories and bitter satisfactions are definitely coming your way. The weekend dragged by in a tense silence. Denise had taken the agreement to a lawyer friend who confirmed what I already knew. It was aggressively favorable to me, but completely legally solid. The alimony forfeiture clause particularly stung her, but her friend reiterated it would absolutely hold up in court. Monday morning, she signed it. I could tell she thought she was calling my bluff, that I'd eventually cave. There, she said, trying to sound happy. Now we can move forward like adults. Perfect, I replied, a small, knowing smile playing on my lips. I already joined a dating app. That was true. What I didn't mention was which one. See, Denise assumed I'd struggle. A 48-year-old accountant with a dad bod, a boring life. Robert would strike out while she lived her hot girl summer with Garrett, the chiseled CrossFit instructor. But I'd done my homework. I joined a specific dating service, one specializing in established arrangements, connecting successful older men with women seeking financial support. Not exactly sugar babies, more like mutually beneficial relationships. My profile was honest, married, open relationship, financially stable, seeking companionship. The response was immediate. Dozens of messages from women aged 25 to 40 looking for someone to help with student loans, cover rent, or fund their startup. Meanwhile, Denise was discovering Garrett wasn't quite the fantasy she'd conjured. Tuesday, she stormed home from the gym, absolutely furious. Garrett's married, she spat. So are you. I pointed out calmly. His wife doesn't know, she raged. He thought I was offering an affair. Weren't you? I asked, genuinely curious. No, this is ethical non-monogamy. He has to tell his wife. I laughed. Actually, genuinely laughed out loud. You think a 32-year-old CrossFit instructor wants to tell his wife he's dating a 45-year-old married woman? The age comment visibly stung her, a tiny flicker of reality finally breaking through. Wednesday, I had my first actual date. Jennifer, 29, a marketing graduate drowning in student debt. We met for coffee. So your wife's really cool with this? Jennifer asked, a touch of skepticism in her voice. Here's the signed agreement, I said, sliding a copy across the table. Wow. Okay, she responded, impressed. I'm looking for companionship, I explained. Dinners, events, conversation. I'll cover your student loan payments and a monthly allowance. That's it. No expectations. None, I confirmed. I just want to enjoy nice evenings with someone who actually wants to be there. She agreed. $2,000 a month plus loan payments. Significantly cheaper than the divorce Denise had threatened. I told Denise that night. You're paying someone to date you, she scoffed. It's an arrangement. I corrected her, calm as ever. Very open, very ethical. She knows exactly what she's getting. That's prostitution. No, it's companionship. We haven't even kissed. Unlike you and Garrett. Oh wait, he won't touch you now that he knows you want more than an affair. She flew into a rage, jumping on Tinder that night, matching with dozens of guys. She went on 3 dates that week, coming home from each one increasingly frustrated. They all just want sex, she complained, utterly bewildered. Shocking, I deadpanned. Men on dating apps want casual sex with married women. The younger ones are immature, the older ones are creepy or divorced with baggage. I paused, letting it sink in. Maybe try being honest about what you're looking for. I am, she insisted. But when I mention I'm married and it's open, they either unmatch or just want to hook up. Meanwhile, Jennifer and I were having lovely dinners. She was smart, funny, genuinely interested in my boring work stories because I was literally paying off her crushing debt. It was a win-win. By week 3, Denise was spiraling. She'd been on 8 dates, and it was a masterclass in modern dating horror. 2 ghosted her after sleeping with her. 3 wanted sugar mama arrangements. Talk about hilarious karma. 1 turned out to be married and looking for a secret affair. Another was perfect until his wife called Denise screaming because he'd lied about being divorced. The last one was actually single and interested, but he was 26 and still lived with his parents. Meanwhile, I was having the time of my life. Not romantically, not exactly. This wasn't about revenge dating. This was about showing Denise the brutal, undeniable reality of what she had so casually demanded. Thursday night, there was a charity gala for my company. Usually, Denise would grumble about these events, but now, she assumed she'd still be my plus one. "What time should I be ready?" she asked, that familiar entitlement creeping back in her voice. "For what?" I asked, looking up from my tie. "The gala." "Oh," I said casually, "I'm taking Rebecca, my lawyer." "You're taking who?" she gasped. "She enjoys these events," I explained, "and it's great networking for her firm." "I'm your wife," she shrieked. "In an open marriage," I retorted, my voice like steel, "you can't claim spouse privilege when it's convenient." She threw a wine glass. It missed me, shattering against the wall. "That's coming out of your personal account," I stated, not missing a beat. "Per our agreement. Shared property damage clause." Friday, she tried a power move. She showed up at my office with lunch, something she hadn't done in 5 years, wearing a dress I bought her for our anniversary. She clearly thought we could talk. My assistant, who was well aware of the situation, asked loudly, "Mr. Peterson, should I cancel your lunch meeting with Jennifer?" Denise's face crumbled. She left the lunch on my desk and stormed out. That evening, the true ultimatum came. "I want to close the marriage," she declared, her voice cracking. "Okay," I said, "file for divorce." "No, I want to stop this open arrangement and work on us." "The agreement requires 30 days notice from both parties to terminate," I reminded her. "Fine, I'm giving notice." "Cool," I said, leaning back. "I'm not." Her face cycled through 5 emotions in 3 seconds. Shock, rage, disbelief, panic, desperation. "You have to." "Actually, I don't," I stated, quoting from memory. Section 7, paragraph 3. "Both parties must consent to closure. Otherwise, standard divorce proceedings apply." I paused, letting the silence hang heavy. "You planned this. You demanded this. I'm just playing by the rules you insisted on." "I'll divorce you anyway," she yelled, tears welling up. "Go ahead," I challenged. "But remember the alimony clause. And I've documented every date you've been on, per our financial disclosure requirements. Your Uber receipts to men's apartments at 2 a.m. won't look great in court." She finally realized the full, inescapable trap she'd walked into. She could stay in the open marriage she now hated, a prison of her own making, or divorce and lose all alimony rights while looking like the cheater in court. Saturday morning, she tried emotional manipulation. "Robert, I love you. I made a mistake," she wailed. "You threatened divorce to coerce me into letting you sleep with Garrett." I replied, my voice devoid of emotion. I was confused. Midlife crisis. Hormones. "For 6 months while you researched divorce lawyers?" I scoffed. She started crying. Real tears this time. "What do you want?" "I wanted a faithful wife," I said, the words heavy with resignation. "That ship sailed long ago. So this is punishment? This is what you demanded." I corrected her, my voice rising slightly. "Open marriage. I'm just better at it than you expected." By week 5, Denise went absolutely nuclear. First, she called my mother, spinning a tale about me having affairs and destroying our family. My mom, bless her heart, called me utterly confused. "Mom," I explained calmly, she demanded an open marriage. "I have it in writing." There was a pause. Then my mother, a devout Catholic, said, "Oh, honey." She played stupid games. That's how badly Denise had miscalculated. Even my mother was on my side. Next, she tried seduction. She came to bed in lingerie I hadn't seen in a decade, trying to reignite something that was long dead. "Remember when we were Garrett?" I asked, my voice flat. She deflated, physically shrinking. "That was cruel. That was honest," I countered. Then came the full-blown investigation. She hired a private investigator to follow Jennifer, convinced she'd find something illicit about our arrangement. The PI found nothing, of course, because there was nothing to find, just dinners and conversation. But the PI did find something else. Garrett, her CrossFit crush, had moved on. He was now dating a 22-year-old gym member, posting it all over Instagram. Denise saw it during spin class and had a public meltdown. She got banned from the gym. Thursday, she made her biggest mistake yet. She went to Rebecca's law firm, threatening a malpractice suit, claiming Rebecca had taken advantage of our marital problems. Rebecca, cool as ice, simply pulled up security footage from our dinner. "Mrs. Peterson," she said, her voice sharp, "you're on camera reviewing and signing the agreement without coercion. You had 5 days to consider and consult your own legal counsel. Would you like to discuss defamation charges?" Denise left humiliated, utterly crushed. That night, she broke. "What will it take?" she whispered, defeated. "For what?" I asked. "To end this? To go back?" "We can't go back," I stated firmly. "You burn that bridge. Then forward? Counseling? Anything. Here's my offer," I said, cutting her off. "One time only. We divorce. Mediated, not contested. I keep my retirement and investment account. You get the house, your car, and half the savings. No alimony either direction. A clean break." "That's less than I'd get in a normal divorce," she protested, a flicker of her old entitlement returning. "In a normal divorce," I said, staring her down, "I wouldn't have documentation of your infidelity attempts and a signed agreement showing you initiated this. You wouldn't have a leg to stand on." "You'd really divorce me after 22 years?" she asked, her voice trembling. "You ended our marriage the moment you threatened divorce to sleep with another man, Denise," I told her, my voice unwavering. "I'm just handling the paperwork." She asked for time to think. I gave her the weekend. It's been 3 months since that conversation, and it's time for the conclusion. Denise took the deal. Not happily, no, but she took it. The mediation was surprisingly quick, 2 sessions and done. The mediator actually complimented how prepared my documentation was. 22 years of marriage ended not with a bang, but with a whimper. The house sale closed last week. Denise got her half, but quickly realized that maintaining it solo, especially with property taxes, ate up most of her salary. She's apartment hunting now, trying to figure out how to live within her new, more modest means. Meanwhile, I bought a fantastic condo downtown. 2 bedrooms, a modern kitchen, and absolutely zero memories of betrayal. Jennifer and I ended our arrangement once the divorce was finalized. She was incredibly grateful. I'd paid off $30K in her student loans and even helped her land a job in my company's marketing department. Different building, no conflicts. We're actually good friends now. She sends me memes about tax season. Denise tried one last manipulation 2 weeks ago. She showed up at my condo with a bottle of wine and a stack of old photo albums. "Robert," she began, her voice soft, trying to evoke nostalgia. "Remember our trip to Hawaii? Our daughter's first Christmas? I remember everything," I told her, my voice firm. "Including you choosing Garrett over our marriage." "I never slept with him," she protested, tears welling. "Because he rejected you," I corrected, "not because you didn't try." She finally said what she'd been holding back, her voice filled with a desperate accusation. "You never loved me. If you did, you would have fought for us." "I loved you for 22 years, Denise," I said, looking her straight in the eye. "You loved me until someone with better abs showed interest." She shook her head, muttering, "This isn't how it was supposed to go. You thought I'd be desperate to keep you," I stated, laying out her entire playbook. "You thought I'd agree to anything." Classic middle-aged guy, grateful for whatever scraps his wife threw him. "That's not. It's exactly what you thought," I interrupted. "You'd sleep around, live your fantasy, while I waited at home, funding your lifestyle. When you got out of your system, we'd close the marriage and pretend it never happened." Her silence was all the confirmation I needed. "Instead, you discovered that Garrett wasn't interested in a relationship, that men your age want younger women or easy affairs, that dating at 45 is brutal, and that I had more options than you ever imagined." "So," she spat, defeated, "you admit this was revenge? This was consequences, Denise." I corrected her, the words like a final, sharp blow. "You wanted an open marriage as a threat. I gave you exactly what you asked for, just not how you pictured it." She left the photo albums. I threw them in the recycling. "Yesterday, I ran into Garrett at a coffee shop. He tried to bro me, but I just ignored him. His young girlfriend asked who I was. He actually said, 'Nobody.' And you know what? He was right. Denise, according to mutual friends, is back on dating apps. This time, honestly single. And she's struggling. The men her age want younger women or casual encounters only. The good ones are taken. The available ones? They have their own baggage, and she can't use our marital assets to make herself more appealing. Welcome to reality. My kids know the basics. Mom wanted to change the marriage. Dad disagreed. We divorced. They're adults. They've figured out the rest. My daughter actually told me, "Dad, you're happier now." And she's absolutely right. I started actual dating last month. Met a wonderful woman named Carol through a hiking group. She's 44, divorced 5 years ago when her ex had an affair. We actually bond over betrayal humor. I even showed her a copy of the open marriage agreement. I keep it as a reminder, a trophy of sorts, and she laughed so hard she cried. "You really made her sign this?" she gasped. She insisted on opening the marriage. I told her, and I open it wide. We're taking it slow, very slow. Trust issues on both sides. But she makes me laugh. Doesn't have a CrossFit instructor on the side. And she thinks my dad bod is cuddly. The revenge wasn't dramatic, it was methodical. Denise wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Instead, she discovered the cake was stale, the bakery was closed, and I'd already moved on a pie. She gambled our entire marriage on the assumption that I had no options and no spine. She lost everything because she couldn't imagine a world where I wasn't desperately grateful for whatever she offered. The funniest part? If she just asked for counseling, admitted she was bored, we probably could have worked it out. But she went nuclear with threats and ultimatums. So, I went nuclear right back, just with better lawyers and meticulous documentation. To everyone who says I was too harsh, she literally threatened to destroy my financial future if I didn't let her sleep with other men. What would you have done? Now, I wake up in my quiet condo, make coffee without anyone complaining about the smell, and feel a profound sense of peace. No walking on eggshells. No wondering if she's texting Garrett. No pretending everything's fine. It was worth every penny of those student loan payments to Jennifer. Worth every awkward mediation session. Worth the 22 years we lost. Because the look on Denise's face when she realized she'd played herself, that memory alone keeps me warm at night. She wanted an open marriage. I gave her one. It's not my fault she couldn't handle what she wished for.